Good morning, everyone. I'm Mandy Mahoney, candidate for Atlanta City Council. And I am so excited to be here with all of you this morning. I have spent my entire civic and professional life at the intersection of public, private, academic, and philanthropic partnership. That first manifested when I was on the team that launched the Beltline for Mayor Franklin in 2005. And then I was the city's first sustainability director. And for the past 10 years, I've served as the president of a regional nonprofit that works on climate change, affordable housing, and clean energy policy, the Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance.
Thank you. Ms. Bakhtiari.
Oh, you said it correctly. Hi, my name is Liliana Bakhtiari, and I'm a candidate for Atlanta City Council District 5. I was born at Piedmont Hospital, have lived in this district for 16 years. I'm a longtime resident of Southeast Atlanta. I have a track record of fighting for affordability, environmental justice, and for our unsheltered populations. When I am council member, I look forward to fighting to close our ever-growing equity gap and technology gap, making sure that all of our neighborhoods are safe for every Atlantan, and doing everything I can to ensure that every person has, everything they need to live and thrive in this city.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Hi y'all, my name is Doug Williams and I've been a usual suspect in good trouble in District 5 since 2005. I've served as a neighborhood president and officer, NPU officer, initiated a safety working group for Atlanta and DeKalb residents. I founded a farmer's market and urban farm and served Animal Services Advisory Board for DeKalb County. I want to ensure that Atlanta works for everyone who lives in District 5 and I look forward to serving you all. Be blessed.
Thank you. Ms. Kissel.
Hi, I'm Katie Kissel, and I am running for Atlanta City Council District 5. I am running for Atlanta City Council because I believe that everyone in Atlanta should have equitable access to affordable housing, income, mobility, and safe transportation. As president of Kirkwood Neighbors Organization, executive board member of HAY, Helping Empower Youth, and as a trusted member of the community, I will work hard to make sure that that happens as your next city council member. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Samuel Baycoat, native Atlantan. I am a former small business owner, returned Peace Corps volunteer. I'm also a graduate of Morehouse College. I have a BA, an MBA from UNC Chapel Hill, and an MPA from Harvard University. I have served the pleasure of 4 different mayors and 3 different county commission chairs over the last 35 years in organizational leadership on various boards, authorities, and a commission. Therefore, I'm experienced and ready to serve the constituents of District 5 on day 1.
Thank you. Ms. Zahn.
Good morning, I'm Jennifer I, the current District 6 representative. I am a lawyer, I'm a mother of 4 daughters, an entrepreneur and a small business owner. I've had the honor of representing the neighborhoods of District 6 for the last 3.5 years. It runs from the Lindbergh MARTA station to Colony Square across to Druid Hills. I've chaired a committee all 4 years on City Council. The first 2 on Committee for Council where we ushered through our ethics reform. I wrote and sponsored our Inspector General legislation, and I've chaired the Finance and Executive Committee for the last 2 years.
Thank you. Our first question goes to Ms. Bakhtiari and Mr. Baycoat. It is many developers and businesses say that the city is hard to do business with. Lots of red tape, delays in getting permits and licenses, and generally poor customer service. If elected, what will you do about that? And we go to Ms. Bakhtiari first.
Thank you. One of the things I think I've spent a lot of time listening to, we've had constituents in this district and developers in this district tell me time and time again that we need to streamline our permitting process and form a closed loop system, which would inevitably allow us to track people's complaints, feedback, and everything else that they are informing the city that they are having difficulty with. It will allow us to be more efficient in our process, and it will allow us to defer to the people that are experts on their own conditions to ensure that we are not leaving money on the table, to ensure that we are making it easier to build housing in a city that has been building at a massive deficit over the last few decades. We're building at the slowest rate we have since the 90s, and being able to form a closed loop system will allow us to become more efficient in that process and grow more equitably as a city.
Thank you. Mr. Baker.
Sure, certainly. I think that it's very important to make sure that the process is efficient, that it's fair and it's streamlined. To the extent we want to attract development in this city, we've got to, again, listen to the developers on their concerns. I would suggest too, in terms of just streamlining it and making it more efficient, as a city, we should look at prioritizing the development as well. So we all have interest in affordable housing. So if it's affordable housing that's at the table, then perhaps that gets pushed the line first. So again, starting to look at how to prioritize the type development and making sure that they are served well and first, and then making sure everyone's at the table though. But again, I think if we really want to get things done, like again, affordable housing, we've got to make sure that if you're doing that, we're with you, we're for you, we want to make sure that the process works for you, works for all of us.
Thank you. Okay, next question goes to Ms. Odd and Ms. Kissel, and it is, crime in Atlanta has been increasing at an alarming rate, and what role do you see technology playing as a future crime mitigation tool? And what do you believe is the City of Atlanta's role in supporting advancements? Ms. Odd.
Sure. I think one thing we've seen in the recent crime uptick is that it is centralized in certain locations and around certain purposes, and we don't have very good technology to track some of this. In my district, which includes Cheshire Bridge and Piedmont, there are certain businesses that aren't in compliance with whether it's their liquor code, whether it's their water bill, whether it's their code compliance, and we don't have an effective system in place to see that, and I've drafted legislation that improves our tracking of establishments' liquor license.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Kissel.
Yes, so I think when we look at crime in our city, we have to look at it twofold. One, part of the reason we have an issue with crime in our city is because we have an issue of poverty and income inequality in our city. So if we address that first, that has to be the key thing. Police officers do not decrease crime, they displace crime. So if we actually want to decrease crime, we have to address the income inequality. The other piece of that is we also have to hold our police officers accountable. I have marched alongside some of the mothers and fathers of victims who have been murdered by the police in this city, and we need to hold them to accountable so we can trust our police again.
Thank you. The next question goes to Mr. Williams and Ms. Mahoney, and it is, the City of Atlanta encompasses more than 130 square miles, yet the downtown business district is a very compact 4 square miles. What do you see is the role of the central business district within the city? Mr. Williams.
Well, for one, I'm in District 5, and the Central Business District is not in my particular area and is not the primary concern, but it needs to be a functioning business district that works for everyone trying to operate within it. We need a better infrastructure of sidewalks, we need a better infrastructure of public transportation, not just in terms of light rail and not just in terms of buses, but we need to have an accessible community that works for everyone who's trying to traverse within the city. This means not just accessible for a healthy person, but someone in a wheelchair or a walker.
Thank you. Ms. Mahoney.
I love downtown Atlanta so much. I have had my office down there since '05 and most recently the Hurt Building. And it has, under CAP's leadership, so much beautiful life has been breathed into downtown, and it helps with just the identity. And I think continuing to follow in the lead of CAP to create place-based special things that bring people together and support business expansion, support people having an identity in downtown will reap benefits across the city.
Thank you. The next question will go to Ms. Zide and Mr. Baycoat. Despite the pandemic, we've had many announcements of company expansions, relocations, and new job creation in Atlanta. But even so, finding qualified workers to fill these new jobs isn't an easy task, businesses say. What do you believe are the biggest challenges facing workforce development and talent attraction in the city? Ms. Zide.
When I came into city council, what I saw was very siloed. systems of Atlanta Public Schools, of our technical schools, of our workforce development agency, and then Invest Atlanta. And there really wasn't anything stitching those together of knowing if we're attracting a particular kind of industry to the city, is that trickling all the way down through our technical school system down to our public school system to make sure that we're training people for the kind of jobs we want to bring to the city. I think we've made some improvements over the last few years, but we need to keep on working on that, of really making all of the people doing the work from education to job training to economic development talk to each other.
Thank you. Mr. Bako?
Sure, I think a part of that, at least going on now, of course, in the minds of most of us is safety. Of course, we took precautions today in terms of the pandemic rather. So making sure that we completely address the pandemic thoroughly and that all of us feel safe out there will certainly address, I think, workers returning to the workforce. In general though, I believe it's identifying training, partnerships with the institutions of higher learning to make sure that they're addressing the needs that the employers have in terms of attracting people to the city. I think that we also need to focus on making sure that people are being paid a living wage. That's a part of it too. We need to begin to step into, certainly.
Thank you. The next question goes to Ms. Mahoney and Ms. Bakhtiari. Even before the pandemic, complaints about customer service at City Hall were rampant. If elected, what improvements would you commit to make to improve the city's current customer service functions? Ms. Mahoney.
So I served under Mayor Franklin and into the Reed administration as the sustainability director. And so having seen firsthand the feedback that people give when they come down and what is the answer, I think that the role of council in this is to create transparency onto common themes where we are given the feedback that things are not working. I think permitting, to your earlier question, the city permitting program is broken. And if we identify the core issues that people find that are broken, in partnership with the mayor's office, since we do have a strong mayor form of government, to figure out how to streamline things, have things be more transparent and clear on the city's website. And then that creates and reestablishes trust, and people have more faith in the community.
Thank you. Ms. Bakhtiari.
Yes, so I've heard time and time again that people are tired of paying for city services that they feel that they are not receiving. Again, this goes back to the closed loop system. It's about attracting the right people to do the work. It's about the efficiency, and it's about making sure that we're collecting the right data and actually tracking what we are getting done and properly communicating it to the constituents of this city. If people continue to lose faith in Atlanta's ability to do the work we know we are capable of, we will not continue to attract people here. We will not continue to attract business here. And that is vital if we intend on still planning on being one of the densest cities in the next couple of years. We have to make sure that we are building that on a strong foundation, and that starts and begins with the efficiency of our growth as a city.
Thank you. The next question goes to Mr. Williams and Ms. Kissel. And it is, what improvements, if any, need to be made with regards to transparency and oversight with MARTA in its More MARTA program? Mr. Williams.
Not just with MARTA, but with everything the city's doing, we have to have more transparency and accountability in how we spend our money. We, across the board, have not been very transparent as a city. We currently have more than $40 million in funding for HIV housing that we can't spend because we can't account to the federal government of how we're spending our money. There is a broken sense of trust with the city by the citizens for how we do this, and at every level we need professional standards of accountability and measurement of our performance. The way that the business community works can be done with the city.
Good. Thank you. Ms. Kissel.
Yeah, I agree with Doug actually in regards to our track record with transparency in this city that we've had to return, not just with transportation, but when other departments we've had to return federal dollars because we can't keep track of where we're spending. So I would say when it comes to MARTA, we have to meet people where they are. We have to be creative about our solutions, and we have to be creative about how we convey those solutions to the ridership of MARTA. That's the people that we should be engaging for this.
Okay, thank you. The next question goes to the entire panel, and it is, what is the primary issue facing your district, and why are you the candidate to address it? And we will start with Ms. Ide.
I'm going to echo similarly to what my colleague Amir Farouki said this morning. I think it's delivering the basic services. That's what I hear from people in the hundreds of emails that I receive every month. It is people who are taxpayers feeling like they're not getting what they paid for when they go out and their trash hasn't been picked up, or they're hitting a pothole on the way to work, or they don't feel safe pumping gas. And I don't think we need to do anything crazy and new and innovative. I think we need to focus on delivering that. I've been doing that for the last 3.5 years. I'm out there listening to my community, and that's what I hear from them, and have the relationships now with our commissioners and leadership to try to improve those systems.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
I think the biggest issue in the city is that we have a broken government that doesn't work. It works for the few at the expense of the many. We've developed an economy the size of Norway, but we have the highest level of income inequality in the United States. We have paid for a massive beltline development, but we have failed to deliver the light rail that we are paying taxes for, or the affordable housing that was promised. My entire time of community service has been built on finding the cynicism that says that government cannot work for us. That is a boondoggle to convince people that government can't work. It's simply to keep our leaders trying to keep us from holding them accountable. We need a government that works for everyone.
Okay, thank you. We skipped around a little bit, but we'll go back at this moment to the order here. So next we will have Mr. Baycoat.
Yes, certainly. In discussions I'm having with constituents in District 5, the biggest concern seems to be the impact of growth in District 5. It's a fairly healthy district. It will continue to be robust. It will continue to attract new capital. With new capital will come new people, and the potential for the impact, I think, on our culture. The concern is that it could be negatively impact on our culture. So I think it's finding ways to balance then the impact of what's coming to District 5, that is new capital, new people, with preserving our culture. And that includes, I've heard discussions about legacy residents, finding ways to retain legacy residents, finding ways to address affordable housing. And given my experience, I believe that I have the right set of tools to address those things.
Okay. Ms. Kissel.
Thanks, Sam, for stealing my answer. I do believe affordable housing is the issue. There's a lot of issues facing our city, but one of the things you asked earlier was about what is the biggest barrier to people working for our small business. They can't afford to live next to our small businesses. Forget about affordable housing. We're not going to have available housing. For every one house that is being built in this city, we have 1.5 to 2 people moving in. We can't throttle that growth. We have to learn to address it head on. We have to work with our developers to make smart density, and we have to work with our government to incentivize affordable housing. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Ms. Bakhtiari.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to echo again what Councilmember Ide and Farouki said earlier, which is making sure that first our taxpayers and people of the city actually feel like they're listened to, and maintaining those constituent services so we can actually start moving on the issues that are plaguing this district, which I've heard from thousands of people at this point: affordable housing, infrastructure, and public safety. Those are the big ones. And in order to accomplish that, in order to tackle those issues to ensure that we're growing equitably, it's going to take working across the board. It's going to be listening to our judicial system. It's going to be working with our state government, our county commissioners, Atlanta Public Schools, other city council members, and our departments across the board. I have spent the last 5 years building those relationships to make that happen, to lay the groundwork for intergenerational progress. That is my goal. That is why I'm the right person for this job, and I'm excited to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mahoney.
Thank you. The theme is accurate across the board: affordable housing, infrastructure, public safety. I think what we have to do, though, is look at the hyper-local immediate of what constituents, the pain they're seeing today, but also think about the systemic changes that need to happen at City Hall. The themes have been here today around transportation, infrastructure, public-private partnership, and by holding the tension of how do we realign resources to address the immediate, but then also thinking about the more transparency, the more effective systems we want in place to create the city long-term we all hope and dream for.
Thank you.